What's up, everybody? Welcome to the SATS show, your beginner-friendly guide to saving in Bitcoin. Why do we save in Bitcoin? So we can preserve our wealth. What up, McLovin in the house? What's up, Carl? What's up, Carl? What's going on here? Who invited all the people? 5 concurrent watchers. Welcome, everybody. If it's your first time here, my name is Roman. I'm a habitual Bitcoin stacker. I buy Bitcoin every day, Monday through Friday, regardless of the price. It's called DCA, dollar cost averaging, or like we like to say on the show, Bitcoin cost averaging. Okay? We buy it because when we store wealth in the dollar, it loses purchasing power. So we take that wealth, we take that currency, we take that money, that value, and transfer it into the Bitcoin network where it's shielded from resistance. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin is a city in cyberspace and what that means and the implications of that. But first, let's jump into the first segment of the show, which is the SATS strength. So, today Bitcoin is down to $26,035. It's crazy, right? Even at that lower price, you might be thinking to yourself, man, $26,000 for one single Bitcoin? I'll never be able to afford that, or I can't afford that. But don't worry. That's not, you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin at once. You can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. Kind of like, you know how a dollar has 100 pennies? Well, a Bitcoin has 100 million Satoshis. And Satoshis, the short word for Satoshis is SATS. And the show is called SATS Show. And that is why, because you don't have to go buy $26,000 worth of Bitcoin right off the bat. Fill it out. You can buy as little as $10 a day, $10 a month, $10 a week, whatever you feel comfortable with, just to get the idea. While you're learning Bitcoin, the more you understand it, the more you learn it, the more conviction you'll have to invest in it. Okay? I'm not telling you what to do, but I am suggesting that you study Bitcoin. Okay? All right. So today, for a single dollar, you can get 3,841 Satoshis. It's a heck of a deal, I think. It's a heck of a deal. Let's say you're walking down the street, minding your own business. You look down, you see a penny, you pick it up, and all the day you'll have 38.41 Satoshis. When Bitcoin hits $1 million, 1 penny, 1 cent will be worth 1 Satoshi. And you're going to look back at this page, you're going to look back at this show and say, damn it, I had the opportunity to buy it when I could have bought 38 Satoshis for a single penny. Now it's 1 to 1, and then it'll start inverting, or it'll be the opposite. So it'll be 2 pennies for 1 Satoshi, and then 3 pennies for 1 Satoshi, and then 4 pennies for 1 Satoshi. And if you bought all your Satoshis now while it was cheap, while it was on sale, you'll be living in style, and your savings are actually growing relative. Jesus, that's so loud. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the jet flying over. Your savings are actually growing relative to the money supply in value, in purchasing power, So if you price things in terms of Bitcoin, your purchasing power will be increasing against the depreciating dollar. Okay? All right. That is the SATS strength. Let's jump back into the main portion of the show. And let's jump into the main topic for today, which is Bitcoin is a city in cyberspace. McLovin says, it's not really my money in my bank account when the WF dictates where I can spend. Yeah, that's true. Just chilling, hating on banks as you can tell for good reason. It's true, dude. It's true. The banking system is set up as a control mechanism, dude. It's like a layer. It's like if it was really your money, you can spend it on whatever you want. And they use the guise of, because somebody might be doing illegal stuff with large amounts of money, we're going to make sure that everybody can't do anything with their money, right? So I'm not a criminal. I didn't commit any crimes. Why do I have why do I have to comply with those rules that are designed for people that commit crimes, right? Like I'm not been convicted of anything. Not that I could be convicted of something that not that I could be convicted of something because I don't do anything illegal, right? So I'm a good citizen. Why do I have to? Why does that burden fall on me for following the rules, right? So it's bologna sandwiches. Okay, it's BS bologna sandwiches. One time, quick story, side story. One time I was watching something on YouTube and the guy was like being silly, or I think he was cursing too. And like my kids were like, huh, why did he say that, Daddy? And I said, oh, don't worry, he's just talking BS, right? And like immediately the question was like, what's BS? And I was like, without missing a beat, without skipping a beat, I said, oh, bologna sandwiches. So that's bologna sandwiches. Anyway, let's go back to the thesis, to the main point of the show. Why we stack. So we're talking about Bitcoin is a city in cyberspace. It's just a different way to describe the scarcity of Bitcoin, right? If you're looking at Bitcoin the right way, you understand that it's a layer one. My hands are too low. Layer one. It's a foundational layer. Okay, it's a layer that you build things on top of. Okay, so if we look at it in terms of a real city, right? The layer one is the land. Okay, the layer one is the land of the city. Okay, and then you build on top of that land. You build buildings, right, or like structures, right? That's layer two, maybe, right? And on top of those. That layer on top of the buildings, you build businesses inside of those buildings or places for people to live, right? But all that cannot exist, cannot happen. What up, Leonard? Welcome. It cannot happen if you don't have that layer one. Okay. So let's take it back to the 90s when the internet came out, right? The internet, the connectivity, IP over internet protocol over data over internet protocol. That was layer one. That's the foundation layer, right? And it provided like the connectivity, the connections. Then on top of that, you're able to build like websites, right? And then on top of that, websites, you're able to build businesses within those websites, right? Well, it would have been good to own, I guess, land in this. Let's go back to our first example, and a real city, right? A city that's new or that's growing, that you could get in early enough to buy some land before the big boom happens on that city, and people want to use that land to build their buildings, and then on top of that to build businesses within those buildings, right? Or whatever, for whatever use you want to use it, for whatever use the building ends up happening, right? Well, same thing. You could own some land, but then depending on how the rules are, they can change the rules on you, and they can tax that away from you eventually, right, over the long term. Where if you go to the second example, and you have like the original internet, we could never own part of the internet, right? It wasn't available for purchase. Right? You couldn't buy a section of internet. You say, oh yeah, that's my section of the internet. If you want to use it, you can build on my section of the internet, right? Kind of like you do on real land. But we never had the option to buy the real internet. Right? It just came out. It was crazy and it was awesome. It's still awesome. It's what makes it available. What's what makes it possible for me to stream to you right now, right? It's all data over space and time, right? Data over electricity, I guess, right? Unlimited distance and distribution, and I don't need the amount of equipment and gear that you would need before the internet to produce a show and send it over the airwaves to your audience, right? Well, anyway, let's go into the Bitcoin layer one, right? In that example, the third example. So there's the Bitcoin layer, right? That's the layer one. It's new, right? Think of Bitcoin as like the internet in 92, 93, right? When it first came out, People are trying to figure out what it was for, and people are saying, "Oh, the internet's bad. That's for all like that. That's just for people doing crime, right?" People used to say the same stuff about the internet that they say now about Bitcoin, right? Which is like, anyway. But the point is here that when you have that first layer, you can actually own part of that first layer. You can own the ground level of the Bitcoin city, right? And the Bitcoin city has already been architected, right? There's a plan for it already. It's already been set out. It's already been designed. It's already been mostly deployed, right? We have about 5%, no, less than 5% at this point of Bitcoin to be released. Think of that as lots in this city that have not been sold yet, right? Lots in the city that have not been released yet, right? But there's only so many left. Most of the whole city's already been allocated, right? Not that much. It rained all day. Yep. The internet was rich. That's funny, McLovin. The internet was. We'll talk about that in a sec. We'll talk about that in the Q&A section, McLovin. Remind me of that. That's so funny. But yeah. So you have think of it as like the new version of the internet that's gonna be that makes it possible for us to teleport or transport value or basically value, right? It's the internet of value. It's the internet of wealth or value. And if you can transport that over space and time, just like you can transport over space, just like you can transfer data over space and time on the regular internet, then the Bitcoin network becomes the internet of value, right? And you're actually able to own a part of that, which is pretty cool, right? So that's why we stack, because we're so early in the adoption of Bitcoin that it's going to be wild, the impact that's going to have, right? And you can start to see it. You can almost start to see it now, but it's still, I don't know, it's still kind of a ways. But we're at a good point where we're learning about it, and we're getting, like I said, cheap SATS, and it's gonna make it like worthwhile, right? That said, I know that in the past during the show, I've encouraged you guys to just stack whatever you can, right? A little at a time. But you guys should probably have the goal of getting to one whole Bitcoin. You know, it sounds like a lot. I know it sounds like a lot, but that should be like your goal, is to get to one Bitcoin. And again, not financial advice. You can stack as much as you feel comfortable with, but that's a good goal, and it will. Yeah, once you get to it though, you'll feel like you need more. You always need more. But anyway, if you get to one Bitcoin, you'll be like more than set. You'll be on the right path. Okay. Very cool. Okay, so that covers the why we stack segment. Hope you guys enjoy that. My goal is one. Yeah, there you go. McLevin, his goal is one BTC, and that's a really cool. That's a great goal to have, right? And if you don't ever get to that whole BTC, you're still on the way there. You know, so it's that whole thing, like aim for the moon, but if you miss, you still get the stars or something like that. I forget how that saying goes, but interesting. So let's talk about a little bit about McLevin's point. He said the internet was originally invented for porn. It wasn't invented for porn, but porn did help it get adopted, right? The original internet was called the ARPA net, okay, and it was created by universities in cooperation with the government to have redundant like military facilities, right? So like if area A got bombed, then area B had the backups and they could function independently, but they're interconnected. So you had that redundancy, right? The original idea for the internet was redundancy, right? So you could survive a nuclear attack or something, right? But then once that technology was in place, some of the companies that some of the universities and people that worked in those universities or students and stuff that worked on that. Lolade, what's up? Good to see you. Very cool. Welcome, Lolade. Some of the people that worked on the original ARPANET spun off into actual companies and started developing I guess commercial internet, and that's what became the internet. So the reason I know that is when I was younger, I worked for a company that it was called ACC. It was called Advanced Computer Communications. That's what the company was called. It spawned off of a group of people that worked in Santa Barbara. They were the fourth node on the original ARPANET, so the fourth computer on the original network. And those people formed a company called ACC, and then that company got bought out. You guys probably heard it before, like the cell phone company called Ericsson. Ericsson bought Advanced Computer Communications, and that's when I got the job at Ericsson when I was younger. I was like maybe like 20 years old. It's a long time ago, before the .com bubble. And dude, I learned so much about networking there. It was awesome. But that's how I know that story, because they told us. I mean, because that was the story of how that original company, the ACC company, came into existence. And the big joke was that you know how the internet has IP version 4 internet addresses. That's the one where you see like 192.168.something. It's like four octets or 4 spaces where you put the IP address. It's separated by 3 dots. And there's a limited amount of IP addresses that are available in the public scope, right? Because you only have so many spaces, right? You have three digits, dot 3 digits, dot 3 digits, dot 3 digits, right? And if you had an IP address, if you had a public IP address, then you could use that for a lot of different things, right? So the company ACC that I worked with, they had what's called a B class address. So they had a 3 numbers dot 3 numbers dot XX, which means they could produce 2 to the power of, I want to say 16 possible public IP addresses, right? Which is a ton. A B class address is enormous. And so the big joke was that that Ericsson, the cell phone company, bought us for the B class address. Anyway, random story from life, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, the internet was an amazing invention. And but it was only half of what it was supposed to be. The internet was supposed to be transfer of data over space and time. And the second half of the internet was supposed to be the transfer of value, right? But they couldn't figure out originally how to not duplicate what you're sending, right? Because we could always, on the internet, you could send MP3 files or a picture, and the person sending it still has it, and the person that's getting it receives it. So there's a copy now, right? Well, you couldn't do that with money, because then that's like forgery, right? Well, Bitcoin solved that, right? They solved that by having the ledger that registers all of the Bitcoin in existence into different accounts. And when you transfer from one account to the other, everybody on the ledger knows about it and gets updated, and it gets checked by the mining, by the algorithm and by mining every 10 minutes, right? It settles every 10 minutes, which is mind blowing to think that every single Bitcoin and every single Bitcoin transaction that's ever happened in the history of Bitcoin can fit like in a 2 terabyte hard drive, right? So all it is numbers, right? We're not Bitcoin is not saving movies or sound files. It's just text, right? So it's pretty cool. It's super well done and super well super efficient. Okay, but anyway, ARPANET. DARPA putting a base on that moon right now. Oh, damn. Oh, crazy, dude. Right? 2035? Dang. All right. So, what up? I need to dupe some Bitcoin for 9 minutes and cash out before the blockchain is verified. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. That's funny. All right. So, now you wouldn't be able to do that, Salty. You'd have to get your okay, so the way to do that would be if you had a miner and your miner wins the block, right? So first of all, you would have had to run your miner for such a long time for it to actually win a block, that when you win that block, if you put like fraudulent transactions on it, they'll find the rest of the nodes will see it and it won't match up, and they will basically disqualify you from the network, and then you won't get your 6.25 Bitcoin that you would have had you just written the block the way it was supposed to be and not try to commit fraud, right? So it's like the way it's set up, it's built so that it's disincentivizing you to cheat it, right? Because you're gonna spend so much resources to do it, and when you finally get the block that you get to write, if you do it the wrong way, then you basically void your own winning, so you don't get any of the reward, right? And there's nobody that has to get alerted to it. Network just knows and does it. Like there's no people involved. And that's the beauty of it. It's just software running. Like it never gets tired, and it's always gonna catch you. So, right, the BTC police will show up at your door. Yeah, right. Yeah, they won't. The network will just catch you. The network will just know, because everybody else's copy of the ledger won't match yours, right? And they'll say, okay, Salty's version of the ledger is 1 block long, right? If you look at the block before Salty's fake block, then the hash from the previous block won't match the next block, right? That's how they sync them up. And so when you look back 1 block, the numbers that Salty is claiming don't match up with the previous block, right? So then they look at the other nodes, and the other nodes say, hey, the main chain has been running for, I don't know, let's say, I don't know, I don't even know how many it normally runs for. There might be a way to check it out, but say it's running for 1,000 blocks. So which one are we going to believe? The blockchain that's 1,000 blocks long and everything lines up, or Salty's new ledger that is only 1 block long? So they go with the longest block. So longest chain always wins. That's where the term blockchain comes from. Cool. It's a good. I know you're joking, Salty, but it's a good opportunity to explain that piece, right? Because I mean, it's a little knowledge here and there, and it's such a cool design. Once you really look at it, it's super elegant. It's simple and it just works. You can you can be Selmas with SBF. Nice. Oh my gosh, nice. Okay, so with that said, let's get to your favorite portion, or your second favorite portion of the show. Stack recap. Let's see how broke we are. All right, here we go. We're broke, son. We're broke. Sell it all. It's going to zero. Woo. All right. So our holdings since the beginning of the show are down 9.28%. We spent $683.72 to acquire 0.023838085 Bitcoin, or 2,383,085 Satoshis. The current value of those sats is $620.25. So even though it's down, it's not at zero. Chill out. This is a buying opportunity as far as I'm concerned. Our average buy price for the show is $28,476, and the current price of Bitcoin is way below that. So that means today we're buying a double buy. We're buying $10 worth of Bitcoin. Sorry, $20 worth of Bitcoin instead of 10. So we buy Bitcoin here Monday through Friday, 8:15 Pacific Standard Time. I don't see a Lambo in your near future. McLovin, I'm not gonna go for the Lambo. I'm gonna go for the Lamboat. Let's go, Lamboat. Going fishing all day. All right, so that's what we got. We're gonna prep our sheet. We're gonna turn down the music because you know what time it is. It's time to stack some mother-loving SATS. Go to our browser. We're gonna go to Swan Bitcoin, swanbitcoin.com/Roman Stacks, or stacksatshow.com/Swan. Put that in the chat. We're going to stack with Swan. Stack with Swan today and get $10 worth of free Bitcoin. It's gonna be like it's like a $1 DCA right there. Okay. Look. Here we go. Buy now. Lamborghini does make it does? Dude, this price is so loud. We're gonna stack $20 worth of Bitcoin. I'm gonna change the screen so I don't dox my account. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this bad boy. Go back to, scroll down a little bit. Okay, browser. Make the show notes. The show. Episode 55. Is that 55? All right, here we go. Got the music. Drum roll, please. We're spending $20 to buy some Bitcoin. It's going to cost us 20 cents in exchange fees. So $20.20 worth of Bitcoin. So $20 worth of Bitcoin, 20 cents worth of fees. Not a bad deal. The drummer got tired. Not a bad deal. Let's go. If you're new to the show and I have not given you 1,000 SATs yet, today is the day. Hit subscribe. Say hello in the chat, and I will send you 1,000 SATs right now during the show. Drum roll, please. Keep going. Keep it going. Man, it's taking long. If you're watching the replay and you haven't gotten your 1,000 SATs, come back during one of our live shows to get your 1,000 SATs. There we go. We've stacked Satoshis with Swan, and now it's time for the chill music. Because that's what we do. We stack sats and chill. Stack sats and chill. Remember, it's not important what the price of Bitcoin is. What's important is how much Bitcoin you stack. Roman, what would you do if you went to buy BTC on Swan and said, sorry, we're fresh out of Bitcoin today? Can you imagine? Holy dude. I don't know. That would be crazy. That'd be crazy. I know what I'd do. I would buy as many miners as I could afford. I would buy miners because the miner was, because you still need to mine it. And there's still Bitcoin available to miners if they're not on the exchange. But you have to buy your miners now before it gets so expensive. Before the mining equipment gets so expensive, you know. It's a great question, McLovin. I love it. Super good. Super good. Okay, let's update the spreadsheet, see where we're at. So today is 21, 23. Guys, I went to jiu-jitsu today. Had a good class. Okay, we bought it at 26,103. That's not bad. It's pretty good. We spent $20.20 because we account for our fees. Here it is. We got 76620. Just like that. Our average buy price is going down slow and steady. Look at that. We got as high as 28,603. Now we're 28,381. So we're gonna keep dollar cost averaging. We're doing kind of a double buy, which makes it our, as long as kind of makes our Bitcoin. We're lowering our average buy price a lot when we do a double buy, right? But anyway, let's see. I was gonna show you guys. Yeah, here we go back to the top. I was saying what's important. Oh, look at that, we're at $700, $700 worth of value. We're so close to 2.5 million Satoshis. The show account is already at a multi-millionaire, multi-sat millionaire on the show account, right? It's crazy, multi-sat millionaire, right? In the future, can you imagine if each sat was worth $1? Cheers, and like that's crazy. Anyway, all right. But yeah, keep your eye on the goal. The goal is not this number. The goal is not that number. These numbers are a reflection of the purchasing power of the dollar. Okay, and based on how the government prints money, they're not gonna stop doing what they're doing. They're gonna keep printing money, and so the dollar is gonna continue to lose purchasing power, continue to get debased, and so hard assets like Bitcoin, scarce assets like Bitcoin, will start to be, you'll need more weaker dollars to buy the same amount of Bitcoin. Okay, and so 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, this is a long-term thing, guys. Long-term thing. And then you're gonna pass these sats on to your descendants. They're gonna be like, damn, why are we so rich? That's so funny. All right, those are the numbers, and let's jump into some questions, I guess. If you have any questions or have any funny comments, let me have them. Let me hear it. Yeah, that was a good question, dude. What do you do with Bitcoin? Oh yeah. So let's go back to McLovin's question. What would you do if you went to buy Bitcoin and Swan said, "Sorry, we're fresh out of Bitcoin"? And it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen just like that, McLovin. Like, it's gonna happen just like that when you least expect it. Your exchange of choice is not gonna have Bitcoin to sell you. It's wild. That's wild, right? So, what's gonna be your options? You'll be able to go to sites like HODL, right? And see if some poor sucker is in, like, that sounds messed up, and see if somebody's in distress and they just have to sell their Bitcoin for whatever reason, and they're not gonna sell it for cheap. I'll tell you that much, right? If you can't get Bitcoin on an exchange, how much do you think it's gonna be worth getting it from a individual directly, right? It could happen sooner. That could happen sooner than you think. If those ETFs get approved, man, the scarcity of Bitcoin is gonna be even. Well, it doesn't change the scarcity of it, but it does increase the demand. So the prices are gonna go up, right? And it's crazy. So what could you do? You could try getting it from a different exchange. But what if all exchanges are out of Bitcoin at this point, right? Then what are you gonna do? Well, the next only best thing is you have two options still. You can buy it from another person that for whatever reason decided to sell their Bitcoin because they don't see the vision, right? Or you can mine. You can start stacking sats little by little by mining, right? By providing value to the network, by providing processing power to the network, and getting rewarded for that value for value, in the form of rewards for mining. So the way mining works, we talked about this in the past. There's like, if you have a lot of hash rate, you have a better chance of winning the next block, right? The option, the right to write the next block. So what you do is, if you run your miner what's called like solo mine by yourself, and if you don't have that much hash rate compared to big companies, then it's gonna be pretty rare, pretty impossible for you to get the block, right? So you mine in a pool, right? With a group of other people, and you guys split the rewards based on how much hash rate or how much work you put into that block. So when the pool does win a block, the rewards from that block get split up based on the amount of work you put into that pool. Supply on exchanges is 30% lower. Dang, dude, that's crazy. Supply on exchanges is 30% lower than in early 2020. It's leaving exchanges faster than it's being mined right now. Dang. In April, supply will be halved. That's right, dude. That's right. Yeah. The estimate for the halving is April 2024. So that makes sense. Right now, we're producing 900 Bitcoin a day. And up until recently, still $30,000 to $26,000 per Bitcoin, it's getting absorbed, right? That means that someone's buying or someone's willing to hold on to 6.25 Bitcoin. Sorry, 900 Bitcoin per day. That's a lot, right? And so the demand for that coin being mined is there, especially if the exchanges are holding less and less Bitcoin every year. So that means that when the halving does happen, what's going to happen to all that demand? That demand is probably going to continue or get worse or more, right? So then you have more demand and you also decrease the available supply. The price has to go up. That's the only other variable that can change in that equation, right? Supply and demand is the price. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting, dude. Very cool. Hey, McLevin, thanks for providing these awesome little tidbits. It's great to speak on them. It's very cool. Okay, now I have a question for you guys before we go. What's your number? At what price are you selling your coins? At what price are you selling your Bitcoin? Let me know in the chat. When Bitcoin, say you have a Bitcoin hits $1 million, you're gonna sell. Say Bitcoin hits $100,000, are you gonna sell? LT. Oh, nice. That's right. McLevin knows what's up. So the way that I heard, the best way I've seen this described, and it made perfect sense. They show a chart. Well, from your perspective, I guess it's from here, and it's going down, right? So they show a chart that's showing the Turkish lira versus the dollar, right? And they're like, okay, Turkish lira, it's right here, and then it's like going down, and it comes up a little bit, but it's going down, it's going down. And they say, okay, if you were Turkish and you bought dollars to preserve your wealth because the value, because the lira is depreciating so fast, at what point during this this is for you guys this way. At what point during that do you sell back into the lira? Right? At what point do you sell your better asset into the cheaper asset? Right? And the answer is like really never, right? So you take that same scenario and the dollar is now the lira and Bitcoin is the dollar, right? Bitcoin is the better asset, right? Because over time, the dollar is losing purchasing power. So now the question is, when do you sell your Bitcoin? When do you sell the better thing for the cheaper thing? When do you sell the better thing for the weaker asset? BTC is going up forever. BTC is up forever. Fiat is going down forever, right? Yep. It's wild. And let's say that there's a new money that comes out that's not the dollar. When it is needed to sustain your livelihood, or when the right boat pops up. Nice. Whoa, gotta focus there for a second. When it is needed to sustain your livelihood, that's a good. The first part of your statement, Salty, I'll take it. But the question for me on that one would be, you should, if you need that Bitcoin to sustain your livelihood, then it shouldn't probably have not gone into Bitcoin, like stack less of your income. Think of the stuff that you put in Bitcoin should be like money you don't need in the immediate future, right? Like the next, some people say like six years, right? A year, right? Because you don't know what's gonna happen with that. Well, like two halvings, it's like 8 years, right? So if you can bear through that, but yeah, I get it. And then, or when the right boat pops up, that's another good. I wouldn't say that's a good time to sell your Bitcoin, but that's a good. I would maybe take a loan against your Bitcoin for that boat, right? That way you don't lose your Bitcoin. It continues to appreciate, and you still pay you just pay your boat. You just pay your boat in payments, right? With cheaper money in the future, right? So say you take a loan for your boat and you get a good interest rate against your Bitcoin. You put your Bitcoin into a place that's got like a multi-sig wallet with whatever company is lending you the money. Strike Captain Dan. You'll be 80 in 80 years. Nice job. What's up, Captain Dan? Good to have you on here. You put your Bitcoin in a multi-sig wallet, right? And you get the loan, buy your boat, you pay off the loan with your regular income, and your Bitcoin the whole time will still be increasing in value, and you finish paying your boat, and you get your Bitcoin back or your Satoshis back, and you can use it again whenever you need money at that level, right? And as the price of Bitcoin goes up, you'll be able to use your Bitcoin as collateral for more things, right? And then when you're done buying whatever you want to buy, and you've paid off those loans, your kids will use those SATS or that Bitcoin when it'll be worth a lot more to do whatever they need to do without selling it, right? Because when you take a loan, that doesn't count as income tax, right? It doesn't count as it's a negative, so they can't tax you on it. Michael Seller compares BTC to prime beachfront property in Miami. You'd never sell it as it always appreciates and you can borrow against it. Yep. Miami gonna be underwater. That's very true, Salty. And that is another good feature, I guess you'd say, of Bitcoin, is that you don't have that risk of, when you have property, even if it is in Miami, you still have the risk of government changing the rules on you, the city changing the rules on you, the governor changing the rules on you, or going to tax you more. And then you have nature, right? You could flood. You could, like I said, be underwater, right? That won't happen to a Bitcoin, right? It's, as long as you're not selling your Bitcoin, you're not gonna have to pay taxes on that gain, right? If you just hold it, keep it, don't sell it, take a loan against it, that loan is a negative, so you don't get taxed on it. Pay back your loan, your Bitcoin increases in value, and you're still holding it, and it's just, you would never sell it, you know? Anyway, I know that's a little bit of a tangent. That probably could have been its own video, its own topic for another episode, but I think that's a good thing to end on today. Thank every single one of you guys for showing up. Salty Dangler in the house, Captain Dan, McLovin, Leonard in the house. What up, Leonard? And I saw Carl in here too. All right, what up, Carl? Let's go. All right, boys. Thanks for tuning in. And Lil Lade, thanks for making it today. I know you're in the replay club. Let's go. Hope everything is well with you over there, Lil Lade. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 8:15 or in the replay. All right, guys, have a good night, and stay humble. Stack SATS. Later, guys.